Hello Backhouse, and I'm presenting the new Time Team special on the World War I trenches. This is Zach Tait, who has built his own replica in his garden. Zach, please tell us some of the features in detail.
Well, of course, you've got the sandbags that stop your head from being blown off while you're in the trench. I'll just get in it to show you the dugout. We don't actually have a dugout, but the dugout would have been about there, and you would have used that to sleep in and to take shelter in when the enemy was bombarding you.
Is there anything else that would have protected it? Because the sandbags seem quite little.
Yeah, trenches were made in a zigzag pattern. Obviously we don't have enough to make a zigzag, but they were made in a zigzag pattern that helped. So if you blew up something there, then the destruction wouldn't have been able to go down the zigzag.
Oh, would there not have been wire or something else to protect?
Yes, there was barbed wire coils at the front. Obviously this was an issue for when you were running to the enemy trench or walking to the enemy trench, but later than that. There were holes in the barbed wire that only the people knew about.
And is there anything else you could see down there?
Well, I'm sure there are rats down there. There were rats in the...
Oh yes, there's one.
There were rats in the World War I trench. Very, very big rats. And they were pests, quite frankly.
Is there any other kind of maybe insect?
There were lice in the World War I.
I see. And how would they get rid of lice? What did they do?
To get rid of lice, they put a candle down all the seams of the clothes, and the lice just shriveled up and died.
Is there any other maybe things that went on down there?
Not really. The German trenches were much better.
And there's quite a lot of water down there.
Yeah, water is also a problem for people with a syndrome called trench foot. Now,
trench foot look like?
Trench foot was when you'd stood in water for a few days, your foot soaked up the water, so your foot grew to 3 or 4 times its normal size, and it started falling off.
Do you know anyone who's had trench foot?
No. The war was a very long time ago, but I'm sure lots and lots of people did have trench foot.
And what would stop the water from getting to your feet?
There would be a duck bud for when you fired, for when you were firing, but apart from that, there was absolutely nothing.
And when there was firing, what kind of machines did they use?
They would use a machine gun that would be planted further back, artillery that was the big guns and would be planted further at the back or further at the front, depending on what tactics you were using. And they would also use a rifle.
And how fast can a rifle shot?
15, maybe 20 shots a minute.
So there's not much chance of someone getting into the trench?
Not really. Think about it, you've got 120 people all there firing 20 shots a minute. You've got a lot of bullets.
Can I ask who you are fighting against?
Well, they would have been fighting against the Germans.
Oh, would that be the Germans up there on the hill?
Yeah.
And why was they up on the hill?
Because the English were silly. They built their trenches down the bottom of the hill to give the Germans a sporting chance.
But at least the Germans' trenches were awful, a bit like the English.
No, the German trenches were wonderful. They had poker tables, bars, and stuff like that.
But war's supposed to be about fighting, not about luxury holiday.
Yeah, but the Germans obviously didn't catch that, and that's why we won the war.
But it took a very long time. How long did it take for the war to be over?
4 years.
Did the soldiers know that it would be 4 years long?
No, they thought it would before Christmas.
Well, that's it for today on the Time Team special. I'd like to thank Zach for showing us his replica trench, and I'd like to thank Harry, our lighting system. Back to you in the studio.